Hi, welcome back to a new episode of More or Less, a music and mental health podcast centered around one question. How are you really feeling, more or less? Today, I'm feeling congested by the sound of it. VÉRITÉ is joining us, an incredible independent artist, to talk mental health, artistry, and the rise of social media, and today's touring landscape. We cover a lot in this episode, and since we recorded this conversation, VÉRITÉ has released her first album in 4 years, Love You Forever, and is now embarking on a headlining tour that you don't want to miss, more or less. Season 3 of More or Less is sponsored by Neuro, enhancing your mind and body one piece at a time. Living in New York City, I spend way too much time and money on coffee and energy drinks, daily supplements, and then splurging on self-care products. Neuro creates supplements that fit your lifestyle instead of the other way around, with nutrients that enhance your health and wellness to something intrinsically convenient, affordable, and portable. With thoughtfully curated ingredients and lab-approved integrity, Neuro has changed the caffeine game for me, since the gum is delicious and the mints leave me feeling fresh and focused. Neuro is always by your side when you need it. Take my word for it and head to getneuro.com now. We are here, we are live with VÉRITÉ, and if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself to the people in whichever way form you choose.
So the people, I'm VÉRITÉ. I am an artist, songwriter, producer. I am an independent artist, so I've been intentionally building my career independently for like the last 7 years, and I'm excited to kind of get into the nitty gritty of it all.
Awesome. So the number one question we ask on the show is, in this moment, how are you feeling, more or less?
I feel fine. Like, I don't feel good. I don't feel bad. I'll feel better once the coffee is gone and in my veins. I'm in a point of, I think, a bit of overwhelm with just everything that I have going on. And so this is kind of one of the last things on my calendar before I like really try and take off for the weekend, so that I have energy to do everything that needs to be done this month.
Yeah, we'll dive into all that because you do have a lot coming up.
Yes.
But thank you for being with us today. Appreciate it.
It's literally my pleasure.
Amazing. So to follow that up, we ask, what do you need more of and what do you need less of? Could be a word, feeling, emotion.
I think I need more time in the day. At the moment, I think I just need more time. And I think like when you're pushing forward on any creative endeavor or any project, there's a sense of you have to set up the deadlines and the structures to make anything happen. Mm-hmm. And then every once in a while you're like, oh, there's not enough time to do this in a way that has me not stressed and, balanced. And so right now I would like more time and less. I think I really want less bullshit, and maybe this is another more, like, I just want more, like, honest and direct communication.
Ooh.
Personally, I'm good on that front, but, like, professionally, I think that I operate in an industry, like the music industry, that historically is built on a game of smoke and mirrors, and what that does is really forces the business to be separate from the creative. Right. And I think that really ruins a lot of the creative process for me. And so I would really, again, more direct and honest communication amongst the people who are creating the art, and less delegation towards, the business people who, really take the humanity out of the creative process.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny thinking about the music business. It's, we work with creatives and it's really busy and art is very sacred, but at the same time we profit off of that. Yeah. And it's very much a business. So in your case, being entirely independent, which I think is incredibly impressive, but I'm sure, like you said, very overwhelming. What does a typical day in the life look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, every day looks so different. Depending on what stage I'm at and what I'm focusing on. And so I definitely I hit points where I lack balance. Like for the past pre going to LA, it was very much like computer work and administrative work and, making all these assets, etc. So it was very like computer focused and like just knocking things out. Then I shifted to LA. I went to LA for 2 weeks to really I don't know, reintegrate myself into society because, you know, I made a record. We were all dealing with COVID. So I was very insular in my own little bubble and was hyper social. So everything was meeting, coffee. I was eating like 4 meals a day. I had to stop at one point and be like, oh, I'm just not going to eat. Right, because if you have 4 lunches scheduled, you know.
Exactly. I was just going to say, that's LA in a nutshell. It's how many meetings can I fit in? And then now I've had 8 cups of coffee.
Yeah, so I definitely hit those points. So again, that period of time was very like driving, social, kind of putting on that part of my personality and turning it to the max. And now my days will look like, you know, I start tour in a month, and so I need to, starting Monday, really get into a practice routine. So it'll be like wake up, go to the gym, practice for 2-3 hours. I have everything set up in my apartment, you know, so that I'm walking into rehearsals feeling really comfortable, feeling really prepared, and then probably doing the more administrative like stuff in the evenings. And I do that while I watch like trash television, essentially.
What's your trash television of choice?
God, I've seen it all. The amount of things that like I've half watched in the background. I love me some like Selling Sunset. I definitely had a bout where I watched almost every season of Survivor.
Okay. Selling Sunset I gave up on this past season.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, I couldn't.
I just like looking up from my computer and seeing drama. And like I don't have to follow the drama. I just like the yelling and then like, okay, let me go back into my world. Yeah.
Totally.
There's no compelling storyline.
That's part of the joy.
Exactly.
It's escapism. It's a form of escape.
And Survivor is the same. It's like someone's either yelling or you look up and they're like trying to balance something on their head. And I'm like, this is fun.
That's how I used to feel about the show Wipeout.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
I used to watch that with my mom a lot. They make these people go through insane obstacle courses.
Oh, yeah.
That are just, no human should have to go through that. And I just loved hearing their backstories of like, this guy used to own a bookstore and he trained for a year to be on our show. And you just feel like you want to root for them, and then you watch them wipe out. That's the entire premise of the show.
Yeah, no one's going to make it through the obstacle course.
Of course. So with tour coming up, what does it look like? Do you find... How disciplined are you in that prep process of getting out of bed, going to the gym, setting a routine?
I'm disciplined in it when I'm in it. And so I'm just going to start, you know, because again, it's a transition from traveling. And sometimes I'm bad at like moving the routine to different phases. But if I'm home and I have things to do, like I'm pretty disciplined, especially when there's like a pressing enough deadline. If there's not a pressing deadline, I'm less disciplined.
Yeah.
But like I don't really have time to fuck around. So I will execute.
So for this upcoming record, when did the business part of this start? Like when did your rollout first happen?
We started in August, and so it's really interesting, just like the slow build that has to happen, especially now that we're working with a different team. Like, when we started in August, so there are 3 singles out. The last single just came out a few weeks ago, and then we'll have another single and then the record. So it's something that I'm trying to have like a much longer time horizon for. I think we live in a culture of like really like constant consumption, and there's this false thought that, you know, the lifespan of a song is the week that it comes out, and if it doesn't pop off and overperform, then it's dead. And I have a much longer time horizon for like this record, for everything I'm doing, and so it's like really one foot in front of the other, but also it's really trying to realize that the lifespan of these songs is much greater than the initial rollout.
And is that something that maybe a year or 2 ago you didn't have that perspective, or is that just always have you have approached releasing music?
I think it's always how I've approached it. I think that I've also always approached it different from how the traditional music industry approaches it, mostly because I have the freedom and flexibility to like do what I want. And so my ability to experiment and kind of try different modes of releasing or trying to like reinvigorate back catalog, etc. Like I have a lot of the freedom to do that, whereas most people who don't own their masters have no incentive to do that, right? Because they got paid upfront, and now they have to move on in order to continue to like monetize or like build something. But for me, it's like I can creatively look at this entire back catalog and be like, oh, what are the cool things that I can do with this music that feel relevant and that feel creatively exciting. And so, yeah, I've definitely always done things a bit different.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things I've seen you do is even like your fan projects and, you know, sending Polaroids to folks and postcards. I think that's really awesome. And besides that, seeing you dive into the NFT world as an independent artist is completely different. What are ways that you're excited about from either a visual perspective, a creative perspective with this upcoming record to really kind of innovate?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like this record has become like when I was putting together all the visuals, I was looking at it like a moving graphic novel, because music videos don't really have ROI, right? It's like we're not a culture that's going to sit down and like watch a 4-minute music video for most people. I can't remember the last time I sat down to watch a music video. But that being said, you want to still be able to create a world around the record. And so each song has its own scene, its own very simple like visual vignette. And when you listen to the album and kind of watch the scenes together, you're kind of getting the full story. But the whole record is about learning how to let go. And so the subject matter of the visuals is a bit of a kidnap, catch, and kill vibe.
It's so cool.
Thank you. But it's literally like a world that I created to kind of hold space for, you know, kind of everything I was going through in the most dramatic fashion possible.
I think the visuals are awesome. For anyone listening, definitely go check out this new record that's coming out in February. I just think it's a really unique concept in terms of, you know, we hear breakup songs and we hear songs about letting go, but there's rarely that world that you're talking about, like building a universe around it. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you're planning, like, is there anything with this tour that you're excited about to incorporate for fans to experience it live? Because I definitely feel like the singles that are out right now, those are songs that people are gonna love screaming at a show, that I'm sure that has you hyped for all the things you could do behind the scenes and on stage.
Yeah, I have some plans that I'm not going to reveal. You have to definitely come to a show. But my whole focus, and this is for this tour, but also shows in the future, is we come from such a highly depersonalized, like scrolling mentality, right? Where everything is just kind of like passive, and music is like the fourth afterthought of most of the experiences that we have. And so a lot of what I'm trying to do live is really have it be like a hyper intimate and like engaged experience to kind of combat that. And I think we're going to move more and more towards that in the future, because I think we're hitting a point of like critical mass and oversaturation of like content creators. Yep. And just like I don't need to know what you ate for breakfast or like how you get dressed. Like, it's not of interest to me personally. Not knocking people who, you know, make that type of content. But I think that people are going to be craving much more like human and experiential shows and interactions. And so for this live show, I definitely have plans to break the fourth wall a bit, which will be fun. And we'll see. I definitely just want to like see people in real life, because it's a validation for everything you do, kind of, I don't know, in my little bubble.
Right. I'm segueing a bit. But what is your take on the current narrative around artists not wanting to be on TikTok or not wanting to market themselves? Because again, you being independent, that's half the battle, is promoting your art as marketing and sitting down and doing that admin work. What is your take on that?
I think that everyone in the traditional music industry has just gotten lazy in terms of marketing in general. And so if you know, going on TikTok is your only marketing strategy, I think that's a recipe for failure. And virality actually doesn't usually bring forth a sustainable foundation for business in general. And so I think, and being platform dependent also doesn't bring forth that sort of foundation, because your audience is dependent on the medium with which you're communicating with them. And we've seen that with, you know, the rise and fall of like Vine. It's like there were Vine stars, and those Vine stars didn't translate over to TikTok, right? That sort of virality and name recognition didn't translate over to other social platforms. And so it's way less okay be on TikTok, which for a lot of people, I think, who are, you know, I'm not going to say complaining isn't the right word, but who are
Pushing back a little.
Pushing back. Yeah, exactly. It's because it's like not a natural medium. So they actually have to become something they're not to promote something that's like, that's not sustainable. And so for me, I was very clear on the fact that like me putting a phone in my face and acting bubbly, like, isn't going to work. So what are the 10 other things that I'm going to do to kind of circumvent that while still being on TikTok? Like I still exist there really vaguely, you know what I mean? But it's not my main focus because it's not how I communicate with people. It's not the world that I want to build. And so I think that I've always been very for artists creating a constellation of like both strategy for how they create and release their music with the intention of meeting everyone where they are, but also a constellation of revenue streams around themselves that all that feed back into the center, so that if one medium or one mode of operation isn't serving you, isn't sustainable, it can be supplemented with a bunch of other shit that you enjoy doing that comes more naturally to you, and that's gonna like set you up to build something that is sustainable for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Whereas like if I have to do TikTok every day, I'm going to fucking hate my life and I'm going to burn out really quick.
Yeah, and you're going to resent it.
Oh yeah, I can't. Sometimes I do it and it feels really natural and good. And when it doesn't, I just don't do it, you know, but I do other things. And so at the end of the day, it's like building, the whole point of being independent is to build a career that you want, in the ways that you want. And so the idea of having to force myself to do shit I don't want to do in that way feels like the antithesis of everything I've tried to build.
Yeah. It makes complete sense. It makes complete sense. And it's interesting, I talk about it with friends a lot, that, you know, if Twitter were to go away tomorrow, when we all thought a couple weeks ago that Twitter was going to implode and not exist anymore, that certain artists or public figures or personalities, what would be their means of communication with their audiences?
They wouldn't have them. And I mean, that's the point that we've gotten in like our whole like world, is that we're so platform dependent, and we don't own the audiences that we build. In terms of we don't have access to the data, and we don't actually see the value that we bring to the platforms. And so those are two really big problems. It's just like, you know, you look at kind of how Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everything has gone to such stringent algorithmic gating. And when I post on Instagram, only 10% of the people who follow me even see it. But essentially, the creators and the artists and the people who use and add value to Instagram are the only reason that Instagram is successful. Yep. And so we're seeing a bit of the unintended consequences of all of this, and there already are reactions to that mode of operation. And so a lot of my focus is, okay, I obviously have to use these platforms. Like, I'm not using them. But what are the better means of communication? What are the better means of capturing the attention of my audience and building legitimate relationships with them, so that they'll come with me to any platform that I exist on?
And I think the goal is that the platform would be secondary and the relationship is first.
The relationship is first, the platform is secondary. It's why I really like Discord. is because it's the only non-algorithmically gated communication channel that and like a mailing list that we have. And so focused on that for sure.
Yeah, and one of the things you mentioned was meeting people where they are. And I want to touch on what you did over COVID, which was live from 6 feet.
Yeah.
What inspired you to do that? I mean, I'm sure it was the lack of human connection and wanting to be with people, but what was that experience like on an emotional level?
It was really interesting. Even just like being in a car, and again, it's like all of us, me, Nicole, and Pam, who kind of went on that little trip, but like we all tour for a living. And so it was like, oh, okay, we're doing this. We remember what this is like. And I think that it was really lovely to kind of go and do that. And I think it was really meaningful to the fans that participated. And for me, that was really nice to kind of go see people in their natural habitat. I mean, we literally like showed up with a keyboard and a cube amp in people's driveways, and it's just like, so I'll cool. Sing you 3 songs. Like it wasn't formal, it was super chaotic, but it was fun. And I think that shit like that is like really cementing these relationships with the people who like I owe my career to.
Well, it's so interesting. I mean, people go see you. They go see their favorite artist live. And they're paying for the ticket or they're paying for the transportation to get to the show. And in this case, when live music was completely shut down, you got in a van and said, I'll come to you. Yeah. It's just it's such a unique concept. And I think it speaks a lot to your level of engagement with your fans and how much you do care about them and bringing music to them. And I give you kudos all around because that's a really cool project.
Thanks. Yeah, I feel a lot of gratitude for my people because they are the reason that like I get to continue having a career. And so I think that a lot of artists today, there's like this odd, I'm going to say entitlement because that's what it is, that I make art, therefore I should be guaranteed to make a living. And I very much come from the perspective of I am an artist, and it is an absolute privilege to like write songs about my feelings and be able to like make a living and build something around that. But all of that is like in service of the fans that make that possible. And like they don't owe me anything just because like I choose to make art. And so it's my job to build a world and experiences and music and art that like resonate deeply enough that they want to like come hang out with me. And so I think it's a bit of like a flipped mentality, but I think that that mentality is really helpful because it frames things different of like, I don't deserve your money to like show up to a show. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to put on a fucking great show. So like, I suggest you come.
To get your money's worth, of course. Yeah, like it's going to be a great time.
But I do think that it's a mentality shift that I talk about pretty often because I think it's important for artists to understand, you know, the mentality of a fan.
Right. But I would also say, knowing your story, and we can get into that, I mean, you were waiting tables for so long. You have worked your ass off to get to a point where you could live sustainably and doing music full time. And maybe that's just part of your lived experience, that you know what that was like, and you know that maybe some of your fans are in that position where they're working to afford that ticket to come to a show.
Well, that's exactly it. It's like this idea, there's a lot of conversations, and especially like because I've kind of pivoted also into this like tech world and like tools of the blockchain and how can we use those tools to like better communicate with,
but it's
with
innovating
our audiences.
With the times.
Yeah, without having the middleman. But like again, when I was waiting tables and in that period of my life, like I didn't care about how much money artists were making. Like that concept is crazy when you're talking about people who are working jobs that maybe they don't want to work, and they're on their journey to building the thing that is sustainable for them. And this idea that like the world should be so concerned with like the financial health of the artists that create the music they listen to. It's a weird paradigm.
It's a weird gray area.
Yeah, and so it doesn't mean that we don't fight for better valuation with the companies that we interface with. It doesn't mean that we don't even play with the value of music, where the music industry has locked us into a very low fixed price point for the consumption of music, which is essentially free. I'm for it. If you want to listen to my music and you can't afford it and you don't want to listen on Spotify, download that shit for free and listen. Like, I don't care. Yeah. Right? But the idea that I can maybe create different tiers of experience or scarcity and value for that music, so everything can be free and accessible, but also some things can be really high value and exclusive, and all of those things are in service of each other, where the more people that listen to a song makes like the scarce like actual song more valuable. Right. In terms of if you're minting it as an NFT, there's only one authenticated version. So the millions of streams here are going to make that more valuable. The price go up. Yep. And ideally, you have that rare item. And if that demands a high price point, that's going to draw more attention to it, so more people are listening to it. So I really believe in an ecosystem where everything can be in service, and it's not mutually exclusive, the idea that you can have something that's of high value and ubiquitously accessible.
And I think we saw more education, I'd say, over COVID when touring stopped. Mm-hmm. And now artists were back on the road in 2021, and tours were getting canceled because there wasn't enough staffing and people were losing a lot of money. I don't think a lot of fans understand the touring ecosystem, nor should they. That it's really expensive to tour, and a lot of artists are putting their own money out there, and COVID brought on a lot of risk in touring, and there was a lot of clauses that fans don't understand the nitty-gritty of. Maybe some artists don't understand the nitty-gritty of those clauses. Yeah. That I think there was a lot of education during that time of 2021, 2022, now in 2023, that touring is one of the most incredible experiences, and you get to go to different cities and see fans, and fans get to see their favorite artists, and it's bringing people together, but it's also a really hefty price, at a really hefty price point.
For sure. But this becomes the game of, if you're an artist, you can be an artist and just make art. Everybody has the right to do that. But if you're an artist who wants to be in the music business, you need to consider yourself a business, and you need to understand the costs of marketing and the cost and the risk associated. Like, I'm about to go on tour again, and for reference, the last full headline tour I went on, I lost a fuck ton of money because we got canceled 10 days into a 40-day tour because of COVID, which, it was supposed to be a profitable run, and I got fucked, like literally. And there was just nothing to do, and I sent my crew home. Everyone got a flight home, and the van got driven back from LA to New York. And then there was this big pause of like, okay, what now? Like, that hurt. And so going back out again, I'm like, Jesus, like, I'm having flashbacks, and we're putting together our COVID policy. And like, I'm like, oh, I go out in a month. I need to start wearing a mask again because I can't afford to get sick right now. So all of this gym I'm talking about, I'm going to be like in a mask dying, right? But it is this sense of, you need to understand the risks associated, and you need to understand how these numbers like play out. And at the end of the day, it's like, I'm about to go on tour, and like, in an ideal world, we're going to be profitable. In an ideal world, we're going to break even. Like, I've been lucky enough to like never lose money on a headline tour other than getting canceled COVID, and getting exploded. But it's because I build at the rate that I build. Like, I'm really intentional with what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And at the end of the day, it's like people are buying tickets differently. It's like some cities, like New York is definitely selling out, which is great. And then other cities, I'm like, oh, and then you talk to people like in LA, and they're like, yeah, no one buys tickets until the week of anymore. Because so COVID and everything that's happened has so changed our dynamics of how we're integrating. And at the end of the day, then you're also dealing with these high ticket price artists who are, you know, it's like $1,200 a ticket to go see the arena show. And so you have people, again, if we're talking about people who are working and, you know, choosing how they spend their money, they are going for like the big spectacle. So it's really interesting, the dynamics and how everything has shifted. I find it to be fascinating. And I always say that I'm playing 3D chess and I'm like having fun playing the game, you know?
Well, that's how we started out this conversation is, you know, in terms of interacting with folks in the business and being told a lot of bullshit. It's a very real experience of how this industry is shifting, and some people are going to give you bullshit and some people are going to be really direct.
Yeah, I prefer the directness. I think that
As do I. It saves a lot of time.
It feels way better. It's just like, yo, let's just hop on a call and suss this shit out. Like we don't need all of these ancillary players. Like, we can keep this very human, and we can keep this I don't know, just free of bullshit.
Yeah, and I think even, you know, we're a fun, small little podcast, but we're trying to bring humanity back into music just by having these conversations openly and talking about mental health, talking about where we're at. I mean, you said you're fine, and I think sometimes fine is a good place to be. Sometimes fine is just meddling through the shit and feeling some sort of contentment. Mm-hmm. I feel like fine is fine, you know?
Yeah. I'll definitely be, it's funny, just, you know, me and my partner, it's like, we're just like, okay, where's the battery at? And like yesterday it was at like a 0. Today it's at like a 20. And like, okay, if I take the weekend off, actually, I can be at like a 75 and start feeling. So it's like that fine really does fluctuate. And it's just about taking the time to make sure that like we're all pushing, we're all trying to build constantly, but what are the moments where you need to just like sleep and sit in bed and do nothing to kind of recharge?
Well, and you know that especially that Rome wasn't built overnight, and you know, part of being an artist is that long-term development. But I'd also say the fact that you were in LA this week and, you know, doing what you got to do all week, that drains the social battery immensely.
Yo, the social battery, I could never see another human again. And all of the humans I saw were
every
lovely.
Time I come back from LA.
But I'm just like, holy shit, I do not do that all the time.
That's why I couldn't move out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt that way, like being in New York too, but I have a ton of friends out there and I love visiting and I love going out on business and seeing all the people I love. But I like visiting and coming back to my world in New York. That is very different than the LA pace.
Yeah, I think that they each pace is different. I feel like the pace of living here is constant and grinding, but there it's like, again, it's just a lot of human interaction. I feel very grateful that I had it, because again, it's like I'm really trying to push myself in these different directions, but I also feel very grateful that I can come back to my corner and be like, all right, cool, now I'm literally going to lock myself away and rehearse for a month, so
Totally.
I'm good.
Totally. It's funny, I look at New York as grinding independently, like in my own little bubble, and then in LA, it's, okay, now I just did everything in New York and I'm building in New York, now I'm going to show it to everybody in LA.
Yeah.
But that requires coming out of my introverted bubble and talking to a lot of humans and pitching things and selling, and that can be really exhausting. And then I'm just grateful when I can come home and then do it all over again, and then I'll go back in 3 months.
Yeah, I was living 50-50. So I feel like when you're out there for like a long time, it does shift, because it's like, okay, I feel like maybe when we go to these different places, it's because we are in work mode. Whereas like when I was living out there, it did feel different. It felt less pressure to see everyone in one fell swoop.
Which I've heard that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've been toying with the idea that this year I could do like 3-4 weeks out there and see what it's like.
Bi-coastal living is the dream. I had it for a while, and then COVID hit, and I was like, I'm coming back home to New York.
Would you try to do it again in the future?
I mean, I think naturally it'll wind up happening that I'll, you know, if I'm not touring, I'll be out there more, because there is a lot of productivity and a lot of the industry exists there. That being said, it's like, I grew up an hour north. My whole family's from Brooklyn. Like, New York is for sure like my home, and I definitely want to figure out. I want to go live other places too. I want to go live in Berlin for a bit.
Nice.
Like I want to go live in Sweden, Stockholm. Like I want to see other places. And
the music industry in Stockholm is really cool.
Yeah, everyone's so nice. It's so chill. I could live in London. So I feel like I'm trying to embrace the freedom of like, okay, I can be anywhere. It's not just this binary New York, LA.
Yeah. I feel like I'm in a similar place. It's always been like New York or nowhere. I'm from Jersey.
Yeah,
my family's there. But I don't know. I kind of want to go to Boston. I feel like that's a cool city to spend a little time in. I want to go abroad. So it's not going to be LA, but I do want to explore other places. I went to Austin for the first time last year. Austin was really cool.
Austin is cool. Austin is like the best post-show food.
Yeah.
They have like a lot of like late night food truck vibes, and it's always really, I know cities by like they're the 4 blocks around the venue and what was my dining experience. And that's how I judge and rate cities. Essentially, it is not an accurate representation of any city.
No, but that's your experience there.
Yeah, exactly. But like if I eat well, I like your city.
You're going back.
And if I have a bad meal, I might hate your city for, a year until I come back.
That's so funny. Yeah, I went to a piano bar down there and I had the time of my life. It was so fun. It was a great time. So listen, we're coming to the end, and I know we touched on it a little bit, but what is one thing you've done this week to take care of your well-being? It could be what you have coming up this weekend, something to just reset.
Yesterday, I had a few calls and I canceled them all. And I texted my manager and I was just like, can you take these calls and just like update me? And I slept all day because I hadn't slept for like over 24 hours. And there were a bunch of like decisions that needed to get made. And I was like, if I have to make these decisions right now, I'm just going to say no. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't think that no is the correct answer. And so I was just like, I'm not making any decisions. And I started watching like the old Gossip Girl on the plane. And I literally put Gossip Girl and I just fucking went to sleep again for this like trash TV.
Yeah,
and then you come out and like, I don't know, someone's fucking someone's mom, and like it's all like it's literally chaos, and you're like, I'm entertained, and then you drift back off into sleep. So that was my day yesterday, and I literally like slept for over 14 hours. And now I feel more human.
Yeah.
And by Monday I'm gonna be ready to like really tackle everything that needs tackling.
Well, that's so awesome that you canceled those calls, truthfully. Because not everyone would have done that.
Well, Vanessa knows. If I text her and I'm just like, hey, I need to tap out, there's zero question because I never do it. And I feel very grateful for our relationship because she knows. She was literally like, do you want me to cancel everything? Because I was speaking at UCLA last night and then had this. And I was like, no, I'm fine for those things. But other than that, I'm done.
Right.
Right.
It's knowing your limits and then having people in your corner that are aware of that and want to empower you, and they know that if you need a break, you need a break.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been interesting.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for Love You Forever. I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
Tour's going to be amazing. I'm keeping all my fingers crossed that all goes smoothly. But thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it so much. And that's a wrap with VÉRITÉ, more or less.
Thank you for having me.
That's a wrap on this week's episode of More or Less. Thanks for tuning in. And if you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with a friend, post about it, give us a review on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to stay updated on what's next for More or Less, please give us a follow at More or Less with Jess on Instagram, TikTok, all the social media things. Please take care of yourself, and we'll catch you next time.